Welcome to The Funniest Thing.
Yes.
Where each week we share stories about how stepping out boldly always leads to better than expected outcomes.
That is correct.
I'm Darrell.
I'm Ed.
And we're broadcasting live from CHOBO Studios in beautiful downtown Van Nuys, California.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, and since we're close to Studio City, I think we have the appropriate topic for today's show, Ed.
That's right. What is it called?
Flip the Script.
That's right. Today's show is called Flip the Script with Kirk Kjeldsen. How we judge others is a reflection of how we judge ourselves. The great news is, whenever we treat others and ourselves with the same compassion that God has extended to us, we are invoking the healing power of God. This simple practice creates positive changes in all areas of our lives. On this episode, Darrell and Ed remind listeners to flip the script by remembering that success begins when we say kind things to ourselves. And during the second segment, Professor of Love, Kirk Kjeldsen, encourages us all the way from Poland to create our best life with today's daily word, which is imagination.
That's right. We were just realizing before this episode started how, the amazing things that we have available to us today, in our everyday life.
Right.
Because right now, we're using basically the same technology that was so radical at the time. I remember because I was a kid when it was a big deal that Elvis's performance at the Blaisdell Center in Honolulu, Hawaii is being broadcast live via satellite.
Right.
And we're actually communicating with someone on the other side of the planet.
Incredible.
Using a smartphone. And there's so many things to be grateful for, or actually appreciative of, that we have available to us right now. All of us.
Yeah, and that's where flipping the script comes in, because sometimes our mind gets clouded with fears, doubts, worries, self-condemnation, condemnation of others, all this nonsense that gets in the way of us seeing that at every moment we really are surrounded by amazing happenings, technology. When we look at it through inspired and enthusiastic eyes, the whole thing changes.
I mean, if you go to Trader Joe's, we actually have available to us a treasure trove of spices for a penny on the dollar, where King Solomon couldn't even have in all his glory.
I know. I've often laughed at how, spices used to be this big thing. So if you went to this, your wealthy friend's house, they go, you got to try this. Salt. Man, that guy's got it all over there. Salt, pepper, cardamom. I want to say also, Kirk Kjeldsen has helped me flip the script. He's someone that I'll call because of the time difference. He's usually getting done with his day of teaching right when I get off the freeway to go teach in the morning.
Yeah, because he's 9 hours ahead.
Yeah. So he's in a totally different, in a way, it's like that Alan Cohen reading. I already feel good because I know someone already made it through the day.
Yes.
And then the other thing is, he helps me flip the script, because my life is, I wake up in the morning, my mind starts to grumble. I do the morning routine. I find, I see through the clouds, the trees. I flip the script. I'm like, hi, as a chimp on acid. Yeah, I'm ready to start the day. And then I start driving to school, and then all of a sudden I feel like I start to feel the energy of the job.
Yes,
and it's easy. This script wants to flip back.
Yeah.
And so I'll call Kirk, and I forget what the nature of the conversation was that particular day, but it's always just about hurling our crap over the fence, letting go of these negative stories. I think it had something to do with me realizing the difference on my end, it was about how different my day is. Actually, this goes with what Stephen Tom Thorpe said something to us, which was wise the other day. He was talking about how people say, oh, how's your day treating you?
Well, we overheard. Yeah, actually, I was with Stephen Tom Thorpe. We were driving and we were listening to a podcast.
Yeah.
And the guest on the podcast was greeting the host by saying that familiar greeting we all hear sometimes, which is, how's the day treating you?
Yeah.
And
it's kind of a loaded question, right? It's like, how's this bag of crap being hurled at you treating you today?
Well, what's amazing is Stephen Tom Thorpe, who's relatively new at these readings and changing his perspective and applying this stuff in his daily life, He caught it.
Yeah.
He pressed the stop because I was driving. He pressed the stop on on the thing. He goes, isn't it amazing? He goes, I like that. That's how I used to live. And he goes, now we don't have to live like now. We treat our days
right.
Like we really are in the powerful seat of making the choice of how am I going to, or where am I going to put my attention today? Am I going to be a reactor or am I going to be a co-creator with God and bless this day? And you know what I mean?
Well, the practical, I'll tell you, a practical example is what I was just talking about too, which is if I go into work and I'm like, kind of like you just said, reacting, someone asks me, how's your day? And I go along with this, like, everyone's like kind of hemming it on, well,
we're all victims.
We're getting through
it's putting myself in a disempowering victim mode.
But if I go in there with this other attitude, which is I'm going to bless everyone I see on my way in.
Yes.
So when they ask me, how's your day going? It's great. How are you?
Yes.
And send love to them. You're a great teacher. It's great. Or maybe I don't even ask them, how are you? I just say, you're a great teacher. Have a great day. Those kids are lucky to have you.
Yes.
That changed from receiving like, how's it? Now I'm treating my day. I'm coming in. I'm blessing the people around me. I'm sort of compelling my day in the right direction, And it really, it's, Easter's coming up. I think for those who are listening, when is Easter? The Sunday after this comes out?
Indy, when is Easter? Let's ask the control booth.
Stand by.
Easter is being researched right now. But we were talking before the show, and I discovered that really the Easter is the story of flipping the script.
Yes, it is. That's the whole point of the story.
It's the 17th. Guys.
The 17th.
The 17th. So we have probably another week after this. But this is great leading into that. The whole story is about flipping the script on death, limited ways of thinking.
That's really what it's all
fear,
about.
Doubt, and worry.
Because death is really when we start believing the old boogeymen in my subconscious. The propaganda that comes out of either something I see on the news or something in my own mind. But it's always putting myself in a very disempowering. I'm shrinking to this. I'm a victim of circumstance, which is how's the day treating you?
Yeah.
And I forget that with, like you were saying, your example, at any moment to get the easiest way for me to get out of this sometimes is to forget all about, like not try to change the story. Sometimes that's too hard in the moment, but I'll just go immediately to like your example you gave, blessing others.
That's it.
Because we're really all ministers. And as soon as it could be just blessing them in our mind. I'll take a walk on the hill and I'll start sending love to everyone who's walking toward me without necessarily saying anything. But what starts to happen is not only do I start feeling better, but people start to spontaneously react to those thoughts and say hello or say something nice. And now I really start feeling a whole new consciousness takes over and I feel alive. And I'm like, I walk away from those moments when the people smile or say something unexpected to me or respond in kind when I smile and wave. I walk away like, oh, hallelujah, I love my life. And that momentum now picks up steam.
Yes.
And loving in the moment we're in somehow seems, because this is all principle, to create positive changes in all our affairs.
Well, 100%.
And the problem that we're having in an area that seems so real and distant from this moment of me just walking on the hill, thinking kind thoughts. Let me tell you, it works. It is the most powerful thing because the area where the problems seem to be starts to get lighter. And my joyful confidence towards it starts to build.
Oh, yeah,
I start
100%.
becoming the real me. My true 100%. Identity starts coming 100%. Out.
100%. And when I'm listening to you say it, it's so easy to see that it's because we're projecting a nightmare out in our brain because our emotions and even our physical body is reacting and responding to what is in our brain, whether or not it's really happening. So we're generating this nightmare based on something that we're taking a bill, or we're taking someone at work, and we're playing them in this role in the nightmare that we're projecting. And then we're protecting ourselves by closing ourselves off from the world that's happening around us right now, which is the only place our good can ever come from. So it totally makes sense that when you start opening up to now, which is the only reality there is, and start letting your love flow, all the love that we were protecting ourselves from, because there is no monster. So the only thing we're ever protecting ourselves or defending against is love, really, when we actually wake up.
Yes. And
when you read that, it goes, I'm going to read this paragraph from The Miracle Worker by Emmett Fox, because you just described it perfectly.
Let me just say one short thing, because what you said goes perfectly.
Yeah, let's hear it.
This is from a book called The Game of Life by Florence Scovel Shinn. And
right.
Sammy Smith a while back sent us a pack of these cards.
Oh, that's who did it, huh?
Show.
Yeah.
And we just pulled a few before the show, and this one goes right with what we're saying.
Let's hear it.
When I'm able to let go of my problem, and
right.
in parentheses she wrote, cast the burden.
Right.
I shall have instantaneous manifestation.
Yes.
That's the great thing. This isn't just a mind game so I could feel good about my problems. This is a changing game.
Right. It's recognizing that the only place the problem needs to be resolved is in our own
That's
mind.
right. And then it'll happen. It'll be reflected.
God doesn't make problems. God
Yes.
births life. And so every person that we're imagining as a problem is actually an expression of God. Everything that we're thinking of.
And what happens is the situation and our life experience will reflect that back to us, that new loving thought.
Yeah, we basically get hypnotized.
We got some good stories. We better share some more. I forgot about the breasts,
basically
too.
We've been hypnotized through our lives by the beliefs of people around us to believe that these things are real.
And we have to fight them.
And then we have to fight them, or that somehow when someone's having a bad day, we're somehow responsible to try to make them feel better, but like in a scared way.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll hurt us if we don't. That's kind of oftentimes, maybe I won't look good or whatever. There's like these secret motives underneath.
How dare you bring joy to this?
Whereas
if we're
just being our natural, joyous, loving self, we will bless and heal the people around us. And Emmett Fox calls it regeneration means building a new mentality. And being able to build a new mentality is a here and now thing. This doesn't mean it has to take years.
No.
This means in this moment, jump onto a new mentality.
Which is flipping the script.
It means, and he says that is creating a new soul in place of your present one. It does not mean merely improving your present self. It means producing through the power of God and thought, of course, a new self. It's creating one that's more in alignment with who you actually are, really.
Yes.
If you do this, everything else in your life will rapidly change for the better, like in Darrell's story and in my story at work. Your health will improve. It will, because when your consciousness opens up and flows, your cells in your body open up and flow.
Yes.
Your health will improve. Your appearance will improve, because as you know, the body is but the reflection of the soul, because the same face, when light starts pouring out of through you, then you look more attractive. You look the way you were meant to look.
It works better than Botox.
It does. Then those wrinkles become joyous. My son, I was very touched. When I was visiting him in Berkeley, he said, "I love the way those wrinkles look coming out of your eyes. They're like crow's feet or whatever."
Well, because they're twinkle wrinkles.
Yeah, he said it's like the sun shining.
Yes.
And I thought that, but wrinkles when we're guarded and we're serious, they don't.
Look at those. Good. Those are horrible wrinkles.
Stop those. It says the world around you will be changed because you'll be seeing it through a new and better personality.
Yes.
Other people will become much more attractive and friendly to you.
Yes.
And this will be because your soul will be filled with peace, and therefore you will radiate peace, and other people will get it intuitively. Everybody likes peace and harmony, and they are attracted to any source from which it comes. And that's from Peace, the Miracle Worker by Emmett Fox. Getting to the breaths.
Oh, yeah. It's this.
We have to thank our engineer in Indy, because he really helped
come up with this.
Uncover these.
He did literally unearth this.
But I think where they originated from was someone that there's a little known manuscript about one of the early Fazaros in the lineage of Fazaros. He was there when Jesus was in the tomb, and he walked by, as the Fazaros do, like Mr. Magoo style, and And he wondered what's going on in there. He listened he put his ear on the stone of the tomb, and he heard Jesus, when I'm in the crypt, it's time to flip the script.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's probably where it got passed down. And thank God Indy pulled that stone tablet up.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's not usually included in like Easter sermon, like masses and stuff, but this is this is allegedly heard by one of the early Pizarros. Jesus saying this right before he broke.
Boom.
He was like, he woke up from his nap and he said, when I'm in the crypt, it's time to flip the
script.
script. And that's what we're going to do, because when we get in that crypt in our brain where we don't feel alive, I mean, literally, that's the only death there is. If there is death, is when we feel cut off from the good and the light and the joy. So let's take a breath to clear our mind.
Okay.
When I'm in the crypt, it's time to flip the script.
When I'm in the crypt, it's time to flip the script.
When I'm in the crypt, it's time to flip the script. Nice.
You know what the great thing about this flip the script? It's instantaneous and it creates a solution right in the moment. Because earlier this week, I had a doctor's appointment scheduled at 10.
Yes.
But around 8 a.m., I noticed my registration was going to expire in 3 days.
Right, on your car.
I've never missed, the mail comes, you pay it, and I've always paid it early. I always end up, because you have in here in California, some states are different, but you put a sticker on your license plate.
Right.
And I go, this can't be. I go look at my license plate, and it was true. March 2022.
Right.
And it was it expired on the 24th, but it's good until the end of the month on the plate. You won't get pulled over. Mm-hmm. So the first thought is, oh no, I'm a bad boy. How did I miss that? Then because it really is the avoidance of the blame game. Because then I start going, DMV, the Postal Service. And I could already feel, this is the good news, folks. By doing this regularly and doing a morning routine and listening to podcasts like this or books on tape that are spiritual in nature and share these principles, there's no wiggle room. And I mean that in a good way, because you're going to get grounded in these principles to where that's not going to work. Blaming, getting upset, that's not going to work. But it doesn't mean it doesn't come up.
That's right.
And that's why we need the tools like flip the script. So the next thought was, I got to contact DMV. And the thought that comes on with that was, it's going to be an automated phone thing. It's going to be. And I said, wait, I do not consent to that. And it doesn't mean when I'm saying it, I do not consent to the DMV being incompetent. No, it means I don't consent to me thinking this way about the DMV.
Right.
And as soon as I did that, I started thinking about, once you do that and you're willing to flip the script, you automatically, I find, my mind wants to start moving in a positive direction, even though it might struggle at first.
Yeah.
It starts to want to go where the light is.
Right.
So I started already thinking, you know what? I was thinking about how courteous and kind I was going to be to whoever picked up.
Right.
And that started to make me feel good. Mm-hmm. And because I thought, wait, it's not their fault. Let me just call them. They're there to help me.
Right.
I make the phone call. And instead of making you stay on and wait, it says, we can call you back if you just hit button number 2, so you don't have to wait on the line.
Right.
So I go, okay. Part of me got a little scared. Is this going to be time enough for me to make it to my doctor appointment? Maybe I should have called. No, Darrell, I don't consent to that.
Right.
I get a text. After doing I don't consent to that and thinking positive, I get a text. We're going to call you right away. Be prepared. They sent me a text. The DMV, it's becoming more of the flipped script, the good script. Mm-hmm. Sure enough, the guy calls right away. But by this time, I am so joyful about how this is already panning out that I just felt love flow to this guy.
Right.
And I explained. He said, well, let's look into it. Within minutes, not only the guy was knowledgeable, Because I was thinking a nightmare. They're
Of
going to be
course.
clunky.
Yeah.
They're going to be, like I'm the bad person.
Right,
like,
right.
oh, you didn't pay. Oh.
Right.
No, he gave me all the information. He gave me the different options to take care of it. And then he says, you could also just go to AAA and pay it there so you don't have to wait online at the DMV or send a letter to Sacramento and wait who knows how long. And I said, oh my God, I'm a member of AAA. And I go, well, do I pay there and then they mail me the sticker? And he goes, no, they'll hand you the sticker right there.
Yeah.
And because this love was so full, this enthusiasm, any thoughts I had about having a long line at AAA or anything were easily dismissed.
Right.
I went there right after my doctor's appointment. And within minutes, I'm walking out. I'm so in love with everyone at AAA.
Right.
Because I'm feeling so much. It is the way to live. I had my sticker. I paid for it. But the main thing is how I felt about myself and everybody else is the main takeaway of flipping the script. I mean, yes, it works. Everything gets done remarkably well, like we read in Florence Scovel's Shin. I shall have instantaneous manifestation of the new view of trusting in this love.
Right.
But the main thing is how much healing went in my body, how much healing went in all my other affairs just because of that experience.
That's right. It has this, you gain momentum throughout your day and through your life, and it's just, that carries you even further down the road. That you just described perfectly. This book is called God Will See You Through. It's by Mary Kupferle. If you want to go to order any of the books we read, you could just go to Darrell and Ed. There's a reading list. You can order these books for yourself. We don't make money off of that, but we love to share the medicine.
Yes.
But every chapter of this book has like a really simple thing you can remind yourself of. And this chapter is called God is Taking Care of It. And this is a helpful way to flip the script, because when you really start to recognize that life is, this is what Taoism really is all about too. It's that life is actually flowing you in the right direction if you're willing to flow with it. If you can find a way to flow with it.
Thank you. I needed to hear that
even
again.
A flood in one of their stories, right? Will carry you toward your destination if you're not fighting it.
Yes, well, that's the example in the story is the one guy fights it and drowns, and the other guy just goes with it, and he ends up closer to the village that they were originally trying to get to.
Right, because the two of these guys are walking through the woods to get to some far-off village. A flood comes, and then one, like you said, one guy fights and ends up drowning. The other guy goes, nothing I can do about this.
And he had poop like Mr. Magoo.
Yeah, and then he climbs out. He climbs out of the river once it calms down, and he's like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah, and someone put a lei around his neck and gave him a kiss, and he went, wow.
And that's kind of what funniest thing with Darrell and Ed is going through right now with the changes with Unity Online Radio closing. We're just going with the flow, and we're going to talk in the second segment about the Patreon and thank all the people that have been helping support us continue the ministry. So here we go from Mary Kupferle. God will see you through. Each time you repeat the words, God is taking care of it, you will realize that human force and pressure are no longer needed. You will gain a new awareness of what it means to let go and let God. You will see that you have opened up a new area of understanding regarding your true relationship with your Heavenly Father, which is within you, by the way, which is life.
Yes.
It's not some far off thing. It is within you.
Yes.
A new true relationship. It will become clear to you that you are the channel, that God is the doer of his good works through you. You will feel the effectiveness of your prayers, knowing that God does the work, not you. And she says, a wonderful release is felt as you think these words, God is taking care of it. God knows the need and is filling it now. You quickly relax as you realize that God's presence is within you and within the circumstance, resolving it in perfect time and in perfect order. God is taking care of any condition or situation, dissolving whatever needs dissolving.
Yes.
Resolving whatever needs resolving. God knows, God is there, God loves you, God cares. God is present and active now. You could be sure of it. Let go and let God. Let go and let God take over. God is taking care of it. Then when we do this, when I say to myself, God is taking care of it, I've been doing it all week. from Kirk Kjeldsen. That's a postcard for the YouTube people that I just found in my book as a bookmark.
I resemble that postcard.
Yeah.
I don't know
But
how
what
my head got
happens
on
is-
that body.
What happens for me this week using God as taking care of it is I found myself laughing a lot more because I wasn't trying to do God's job.
Yes.
I wasn't trying to control the people around me so much. I wasn't trying
Yeah.
to put on a false image because I'm like using these spiritual principles. I gotta be the good guy. I gotta always say positive things. Instead, I found myself laughing more, which ended up letting more
That's the
people off the
strength,
hook.
yes.
Actually, that helped the people around me let go of their crap more than if I had
Yes.
gone, oh, tell me all about it. Instead, I was able to laugh at myself and life because God's taking care of it. Then this part of me, my mind, my body just relaxes and actually can enjoy this time we have on this earth. And I really think that's why we're here.
You know what? You just reminded me of something good. Because you ever hear, life is not a laughing matter. This is
Right.
not. No, those times should be. That's when they're calling for it to be a laughing
Yeah,
matter.
because it's a release of the holding on that we've been holding on so that life can flow
Holding
through.
back love.
Yeah, we don't want to be doing that. We can read Neville after the break.
Yeah.
Coming up next, today's guest, Professor of Love, Kirk Kjeldsen, encourages us to create our best life with today's daily word, imagination. Thank you for listening to Funniest Thing on Unity Online Radio.
Welcome to the second segment of today's episode, Flip the Script, with
Oh,
our guest,
yeah.
Kirk Kjeldsen. Ed, you reminded me of something that helped flip the script for me as a young boy.
Mm-hmm.
It really saved my mind. And believe it or not, it was a Peanuts by Charles Schultz, the cartoon. It used to be in every
Right.
Sunday.
Right.
And I was always like afraid of impending doom, being drafted into Vietnam, all this nightmares, even as a young boy, because the war was going on.
That's how I felt about going to hell after I went to the church.
Yeah, well, I probably had that in there too.
Right.
But this one cartoon, this one time where someone's talking to Charlie Brown because he's
Right.
depressed, and it said, don't worry about the world coming to an end. It's already tomorrow in Australia.
Yeah.
And that it still gives me relief. I think because it got in my subconscious then, it goes, yeah, it's safe. We're safe. It's already tomorrow
yes.
in Australia.
Well, you should start calling Kirk in the morning because it's already the evening. He's already made it through the day. Yeah. So we want to thank our listeners. We got a great letter.
Yes,
from
it's worth reading.
Marilee Warren.
This goes perfect with the show.
Says, hi, Darrell and Ed. I reached out a couple weeks ago, asked how to donate, was promptly hit with 3 different plumbing issues. 2 on a weekend, including a leaking hot water heater. Who knew there was a poor soul on call at the city that would come out at midnight to shut my main off? Despite my extreme, quote, in parentheses, heart attack level stress, I recalled all your examples and everything was resolved in less than a week at a very fair cost. A miracle in today's world. Since I would have been tempted not to donate with all the unexpected expenses if I had not already reached out, I am doubling what I was planning. Maybe one day I'll get to the point of not being stressed to start with. Ha. Anyway, I've enjoyed your show from the beginning and always meant to contribute. Glad to know there's an online solution now, which is called patreon.com/funniest thing. And we'll sign up for that. I hope you continue even without Unity Online Radio. You are the most real examples of anyone I know practicing this stuff, and it makes it so relatable. I consider you friends, even though we've never met. With much appreciation, Marilee.
Wow.
Oh, we got another mail here, too, from another friend, Valerie Brown. She said, thank you, gentlemen, for showing and demonstrating that a kick up the stairs is a good thing. Sometimes dummying down does me good. The good I seek is seeking me. The captain is on the bridge. Hurl your crap over the fence. And here is one that is good for you and me too. Don't give up 10 minutes before the miracle.
Yes.
Love to you, your wonderful wives, families, and critters, and all the other friends of Darrell and Ed. Check is in the mail. Valerie, thank you for those amazing words and the check.
Yeah, and donating to our show now that
Yeah.
we're moving up and out.
Yeah, and Sandy Page said about an hour before I listened to your show, raise your credit limit. I was talking to my closest confidant. She was saying about how it's not good for me to always want to fix myself. My thoughts of I got to fix it, I got to change it, I got to fix that other thing, I got to remember that. She said, are just getting ridiculous, and I was telling him how I noticed that's not good for me. I told him that when I start thinking that way, everyone around me has a better life and they have it easier. And then I begin to bring envy to myself. I started listening to your show and you guys were saying almost exactly the same thing. It was such a nice synchronistic boost when I heard you guys discussing that. I also listened to the Weasel Free episode today, and the guest on there was so encouraging and fun. I just want you guys to know that I have a better day when I listen to your show. Love you guys.
Wow.
Yeah, have a better day. Listen to Darrell and Ed, and then...
if you have a head full of dread, listen to Darrell and Ed.
That's right. We also got some wonderful jewelry and a card from
Leslie Laird.
Leslie Laird. I have the card in the car, but we really appreciate that, Leslie Laird.
Yes.
And we also want to thank everyone who's contributing through Patreon. We mentioned it, patreon.com/funniest thing. It's really helping us step out boldly into this new direction or whatever. I don't know.
Unknown.
It's just another step.
Yeah, it's just another unknown. But we're all grateful that all of you are with us on this adventure.
And it's a good way to flip the script because there's a tendency to want to grab a hold of something safe. Maybe we should find another little network or something like that. But the bigger, I got to tell you, both Darrell and I feel this, and my wife feels this, and Indy, and the underneath the feeling is, no, go out on your own. Just see, and we're already getting so many signs of land and so much good feedback. And I feel like it's good for us to start to hear more from the people who benefit so that we know. Because the people at Unity Online Radio were not always so good about letting us know.
No, we hardly heard a peep.
Yeah, so we want to thank Sherry Folsom, Catherine Powell, Dick Coxon, Elizabeth Webster, Angela Main, Shannon Cave, and Kat Hurst for contributing
they're
to
all
the Patreon.
our new and you're all considered, contributors to the show just as much as we are.
Yeah.
I got to bring in Indy one more time because he benefited with his girlfriend from one of our breaths, and you got to share how you use it and what it is, Indy.
Oh yeah, the Weasel Free episode, which you can catch on the Patreon and the YouTube, I would assume, and the previous podcast. It's a call and response that we do now. I go, she's in a different room or something, and I'll go, when I love being me, and then it cuts to her. I'm Weasel Free.
I'm Weasel Free. Let's try that again. Let's hear it.
When I love being me,
I'm Weasel Free. Yes.
Gotta say it's a classic, instant hit saying.
Oh, thank you. That's awesome. So again, if you want to become a monthly contributor, we have like $5, $10, $25, $50, $100. It's really easy to sign up. And then it's also part of these practices is participating in the divine circulation.
Yeah.
And it directly does support the show, and we appreciate that.
And we keep it circulating as well. Also, we had a question last week. How can you do a one-time donation? And the simplest solution at this time is
mail a check.
Mail a check to Funniest Thing at P.O. Box 1312, Culver City, California 90232.
Yeah, and if you're still if you'd rather another method like Zelle or Venmo, you can email us. Go to darrellanded.com and contact us, and we can hook you up with that.
Yes.
But we love getting things through our P.O. Box. That's another part of the show. So, like Darrell said, Funniest Thing, P.O. Box 1312, Culver City, California 90232. Let's take a moment to thank the other engineer, the original engineer, the chief engineer at Unity Online Radio, just an amazing guy.
And now he's the original engineer for Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed over in Missouri
at Comfort Radio.
That's right.
His name's Jeff Comfort, and each week
he takes us
right into the comfort zone. Yeah. All right. Quick shout out to Silent Unity, 800-NOW-PRAY, 800-669-7729. If you have an iPhone, you still can use the You Pray app. You Pray, letter U, the word pray. We do, the Silent Unity was the origin of Unity. One of the, it really was where it all started, and you can call them to help yourself flip the script, because sometimes if this stuff was as easy and fun as it sounds like when we're talking about it, then you wouldn't take practice,
Yeah.
And sometimes we use every tool we can to flip the script because it's so worth it. It's so worth it. So Silent Unity, 800-NOW-PRAY or 800-669-7729 is a great way to do it. We always talk about a morning routine, which is wake up, do some inspired reading, do a little meditation, then affirm the kind of day, flip the script for yourself, write the script for yourself of the kind of day you're going to have. And one of those tools that we use is the Daily Word. If you want to subscribe, go to dailyword.com. Someone who reads the Daily Word.
Well,
and
he also writes scripts.
Yes, he does. Oh, he's actually the one who came up with the title a few weeks back during one of our preschool discussions before I walked in.
It was a preschool discussion for you, and it was an after-school special for Kirky.
Yeah, so I'm going to come off the mic and show the people on YouTube what some of the postcards that he sent us. You could tell them about this here.
Yeah, we got into the healthy habit, and we recommend that you do this as well, is send people that you love a postcard. It costs next to nothing. And the great thing about it is there's not a lot of room on the back to brag about yourself. So you really just have enough room to share what a postcard is all about, which is, hey, I'm thinking about you. And a little message, maybe something from your morning routine or an inspired idea or something you heard on our show or you read somewhere. And that's what we've been doing with each other. And I got in this habit 36 years ago. And if I'm feeling like I'm in the crypt, a quick solution is making a postcard for somebody, and a lot of the ones Kirk send us have he'll find faces of Darrell and Ed on the internet and then cut them out and put them on the front on some existing absurd postcard. And then in the back, though, he'll write something
such as,
yeah, here we go.
Trouble and perplexity drive me to prayer, and prayer drives away trouble and perplexity. From Philip Schwartzert. Man, I picked the hardest word I've named. Melanchthon? At any rate, the person who sent us all of these wonderful postcards has been on the show before. He's a professor, a screenwriter, an author, but mainly he practices these principles. He's a father, husband, friend of ours, helps us gives us a kick up the stairs when we need it.
And he's in Wotes.
He's woke.
In Poland. He's there right now, I think.
He's woke?
Yeah, call him in.
All right. Kirk Kjeldsen, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you guys?
How do you pronounce that town? It's spelled with an L, but you keep telling me it's not Lotz.
It's Łódź. It's an L with a slash through it, which is more like a W, but it's Łódź. But it looks like Lodge.
Is that because there was an early Fazaro who drew the L and then he crossed it out and he goes, I didn't mean to draw an L. That means that's a W sound.
Polish is it's an interesting language. They have a whole bunch of letters that we don't have in English. So.
I see. So what are you thinking, man? You've been listening to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah. No, everything that you've said is great. And I love that you talk about stuff you actually use as if you're just talking about your life, not some obscure, abstract, vague, intellectual idea that you're not actually practicing on a daily basis. So it's always fun listening to you, and it's nice to be here to talk to you.
It's just a crazy coincidence how this title that you suggested weeks ago has been the go-to brain saver and problem solver for myself and Ed these past few weeks, to just keep flipping the script. What am I? I'm reading and the crazy thing is, and we both said this, and you probably can share a little bit about it too. We're not saying this is easy. You even sent me a great quote this week via text. I don't know if it was from Emmett Fox or somebody else, about how, this is not, living a spiritual way of life is not escapism. It really takes diligence to have the faith that this is going to work in spite of how I'm feeling in the moment when I'm believing a nightmare. Because when we start telling ourselves something, it feels so bad and so real, and my mind becomes the best prosecuting attorney against myself. That I'll go, well, wait a minute, that shouldn't happen. Because, oh no, well, what about this? I have this evidence. Can we submit this evidence, Your Honor? It's like, whoa.
It's Andy Griffith.
But the great news is that it really does work, but it does take effort. But the great news is it works. It does bring about not just a change in my mood, but it does transform the circumstances.
Yeah, it works both ways. It works. You can scare yourself out of any situation, but you can also, find strength in any situation as well. And it's not like it was funny when Ed and I were talking about Flip the Script. It wasn't like I was thinking, oh, this is a great idea for a show for these guys. It was, we were just talking about how we have to flip the script in our daily lives, because so often we hear all this negativity, whether it's coming from the outside through the news or through other people, or whether it's coming from the inside just through our own doubts and fears and worries. And the good news is that we have a choice that at any moment we can sort of flip the script and change the way we're looking at and thinking about stuff. And this is not something that I grew up believing that I could do. Yeah. And in fact, the first time it was sort of recommended to me, or the first 100 times it was probably recommended to me, I kind of skipped at it until I got to a point where I tried so many different things, and I was just willing to maybe try some different things. And Darrell was one of the first people who was saying, look, why don't you, upon awakening, spend a couple minutes, reading a couple prayers and positive readings to start your day, which is kind of like an actor reading a script and getting his or her lines down. And in a way, you can think, oh, it's not real. It's an actor playing a part. But I suppose you could say that about anything, and I suppose the opposite is true as well. Like what you want to think and believe will ultimately manifest itself somehow in your life. And you can get into the whole, is it real, is it not real? But I like to think about something I think Emmett Fox wrote about at one point, which was about, an architect makes plans, but nobody says, oh, the architect's full of, whatever. The plans aren't real. There's no real house, so it's hogwash or whatever. But if you have those plans, then you could build the house. But you can't really just build a house without a plan. I mean, I suppose you could. Right. You could sort of freestyle a house, but it probably wouldn't turn out too well. Right. But the same thing applies with a daily routine or some morning prayer and meditation or whatever. It's like your architecture for the day. And if I rush into the day without much of a plan, chances are I probably won't be able to build much of anything. Right. That'll last. But if I have a plan, even if things change, even if the day changes, at least I start out with a decent foundation, and right. And I can flip that script any time of the day as well. It's not just limited to the morning. Anytime my day seems to be, flagging in any way, I always take a few moments to just sort of flip the script and change the way I'm thinking about and looking at things. And so much of my experience I know now is a result of how I choose to look at things. Right. So, this is it's so helpful having you guys to talk about this stuff with, to remind me of this stuff with, and to help me continue to practice this stuff.
Dude, that's awesome. And I think when you're speaking, I was thinking we're really flipping the script on what the word responsibility means to us. Like, because I think for so long, I was kind of like in this mindset of not wanting to be responsible for what happened. Like, I ran away from responsibility, because it was like a negative, scary thing. And if I did something wrong, I wasn't my fault. I'm sorry. And so it's like, this is like learning that life is exciting. It's exciting to be the architect. This is an exciting thing that we can influence our lives in a positive way. This is an exciting adventure, and life only makes sense when we realize that we're architects of our experience. But it is like you talked about in the beginning. I didn't believe. If you don't have principles, Darrell and I were just talking about this. If I didn't have like books with principles that I read again and again that remind me that this stuff is real, my mind will resort to its own conditioning, to its old beliefs. So thank God for these books, for people like Fazaro, for his mentors, for all the teachers and people like yourself and friends and ministers. We know that because if we don't practice remembering this stuff is principle. This isn't just like, oh, we came up with this cool new way of living. This is principle that's based on the way life works and that we actually are the architects, and it's an exciting thing, and there's no punishment because God is behind us. The real architect is behind us, helping guide our steps and helping guide the process.
Yeah, because it's based on the scientific law of progression, progress, and expansiveness.
Yes.
Which is love, and it's underlying the whole universe.
Right.
Right before the show, I had to flip the script. Lori called, that's my wife, and she said that the air conditioning in her car is leaking into the passenger, foot area again. And this is a problem that she's had this same model of car. I mean, it's a Kia Soul, and it happens to a lot of people who own Kia Souls. And I thought by this evolution of that car, they'd have this solved. Because even if you look online, everyone goes, oh yeah, this happens. So she goes, oh, I'm going to have to take it in. I immediately started to feel like she's my wife, damsel in distress. Is she going to be able to know what to say?
Right.
And I had to flip the script and go, no, I'm going to choose, instead of living from self-protection, because that's what flipping the script is, going from living from self-protection to choice, that I am going to apply my belief and trust in the spiritual positive force of love.
Yes.
And I'm going to throw that at this situation.
Right.
And we're going to hear good news, and it's going to get resolved in a wonderful way. She's going to meet someone interesting, or a golden link in the chain of her good or our good as a result of this.
Right.
Or at least she will enjoy and I will enjoy the experience I had just shared regarding the DMV.
Right.
Or I could go into, which was tempting just minutes before the show started.
Right.
I go, oh, what next? This thing again. I thought they fixed it.
Right.
And I had to go, I do not consent to that.
Yeah.
Because it's so much more fun to really prove, like Emmett Fox says, I can have my indignation or my demonstration, but I can't have both. And man, we all encourage you because we need to encourage each other. And I encourage you because I need to encourage myself.
Yes.
So let's be demonstrators. Let's be co-creators instead of the old me, the old man, the old me I could revert to, which is a reactor and a self-protector, a worrier and a schemer. I want to step into a joyful confidence. And when I think this way, it feels good. And I'm telling you, it feels good because that's the real you.
Yes.
That's the real me.
Kirky
and that
boy.
other person is not.
Yes, agreed. Kirky boy, we need to get to the daily word. Time is flying very quickly here.
Okay. Saturday, April 9th, 2022. Imagination. My imagination shapes my dreams. Looking back over the events of my life, I realized that many of my most wondrous blessings began in my heart as treasured hopes and dreams. These dreams are the products of my imagination, my spiritual gift of creativity. I am richly blessed by the imagery from my mind's eye, the nudges of intuition, and the desires of my heart, all of which have helped lead me in the direction of my most dearly held wishes. My imagination is always at work, giving form to my heart's desires for love, belonging, health, and prosperity. I cooperate with this creative gift, using it to imagine where I next want this life to take me. In complete trust and with deep gratitude, I imagine blessings yet to come. And the Bible reading is So God created humankind in his image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. Genesis 1:27.
Can I just say something about that Bible
Let's
verse
hear
just
it.
to clarify it? Because it sounds really literal and scary, and what is this, and man and woman? And what it really means here, the esoteric or spiritual meaning is male and female represents my imagination, my thinking nature, and my feeling nature. And it's saying that God created me. We are just in the image, meaning I have the same powerful imagination that carries the same power as God.
Yes.
When I unite my image with and then enough to that my feeling and my imagination are woven together,
Right.
and I start living in that new me now.
That's when you flip the script.
Yes.
Kirky boy, Kirk Kjeldsen, we love you. We got to wrap up the show.
Oh, but wait, we got
Thank
something
you
from
for coming
TMZ.
on.
We heard some news about your latest success.
You ready, Kirk?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right. Kirk Kjeldsen was very excited because he had a big-time meeting scheduled with Hulu that afternoon to discuss moving forward with a big project he had created. However, later in the day, when he met Darrell and Ed for lunch, he was looking glum. Darrell and Ed asked, "What's wrong? You were so excited about meeting with Hulu today. Did they say no to your project?" Kirk shrugged.
They love it and want to start production right away, but they told me I have to shave my beard.
Darrell and Ed were confused. "Why do you have to shave your beard?" Kirk replied.
They said whenever they hire someone with a beard, they have to hire 5 other guys with beards to compliment him on how great his beard looks. And they didn't have room for that in the budget.
All right, Rose Royce is here to sing us out with the original lyrics to her hit Car Wash. You ready?
Yeah, boys, you ready? I don't even know. Wait, Rolls Royce.
You might even get rich. Let me tell you,
It's better than digging a ditch. There ain't no telling who you might meet, a movie star, or maybe even an
Indian chief at the car wash.
Whoa,
Working at the
whoa.
God Watch, yeah. The God Watch.
How did you forget the
Working
song?
at the God Watch, yeah.
Visit DarrellandEd.com to
Wash.
find easy links to
Working
everything
at the
we do.
God
And
Wash,
thank
yeah.
you for being
Kirk
a part
Kjeldsen, we
of
love you.
Funniest Thing with Darrell and
CHOBO
Ed.
Studios at the God Watch.
Whoa, whoa,
God
whoa,
Watch,
whoa.
yeah. Working at the God Watch. Working at the God Watch, yeah.